things like that. That just goes by the wayside. You want to talk about transparency in government, boy, I tell you, that's one that's going to sneak up on a lot of people. They're going to say, where did this come from? We just had a 45-foot height requirement passed. The ink just barely dried, and here now I'm being told it's 60 foot. I hope you all read the findings of the planning board and are familiar with them, because there's no sense in me going into a lot of that, because that's just duplication of what you should have read. Hopefully you all read Judge Lawson's decision. One of the things that has been brought up was that there were only 3 no votes, and yet they carried the day. Well, if you read Judge Lawson's decision, he upheld the vote of those no. He said that they were proper, but he throws out a lot of the positive, a lot of the yes votes. He said they never did prove their findings that it was beneficial. That is within his findings. So perhaps the zoning board did not do such a good job on the yes votes. I mean, he proved his decision time and again. He's saying that the applicant failed to prove, and yet it was they accepted it. The yes votes accepted it. I'm not saying that MAC is a bad project. That's debatable. I've never seen anything one way or the other about how it was going to really attract, how feasible it was. But what I can say is it is not the place for such a development. That is not the place for buildings of that height. That is not the place for that intense a use. These are going to be up onto an elevated hillside. When the zoning board had a site review for the Rock Solid, who, by the way, only has a use variance approval. They don't have a site plan approval. But along with their use variance, they were locked into a very effective buffering with a 9-hole golf course, which is going to make that site very expensive to develop. Remains to be seen, but they're locked into that because that's what they committed to when they went to the mixed use. Now, that's all they have. They don't have a site plan.
Can we keep to this one, please?
Okay, I'm just saying,
we're lacking time, Mr. Smith.
we're referring to that as almost like it's there. You know, it's going to be developed, and we don't know yet.
Who is?
And there were no objectors to that property. The Monmouth Construction went before the planning board, got a flex warehouse building approved on property just north of this MAC site. No objectors at all. Does not go into the wetland, stays solely within the SED zone. Not one objector. So don't give me the business about NIMBY, because that doesn't hold any water. I mean, if that, everybody expected with Rock Solid, that mixed use, COA, the Habitat for Humanity's units coming in, oh, everybody's going to be up in arms, and the people weren't. So that doesn't hold water. One of the things that really upsets me with this ordinance is, somebody said, I believe your attorney said before, let's not go into the site plan. Well, I'll tell you something. Having sat through the zoning board case, this ordinance is the site plan. And not only that, but on page, I believe, yeah, it's page 5, location. A multi-purpose recreation and sports complex shall only be permitted within an SED zone district. The multi-purpose recreation and sports complex shall be serviced by public sewer and centralized water. I don't know what centralized water is, I'm sorry. I know what municipal water is, whatnot, but I'm not going to worry about that too much now. But located next to or within the Monmouth County's Western Monmouth Development Plan Regional Center Expansion Area, and having lot frontage along a local roadway. Could anybody tell me where in the township there is another piece of property other than that already owned by MAC that fits this criteria? Now, in this day and age of state government corruption, people will take a look at this, and judging by the course it's taken,
Hold on.
haven't gone, now wait a minute,
Hold on.
I have a right to give my
Hold
opinion, and I'll tell you something, in the court of public opinion, this reeks. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, damn it, it's a duck.
Okay.
And if any of you remember the witch hunt out of the Monmouth County Prosecutor's
Mr.
Office
Smith.
over Colts Neck Crossing, if you don't think you're going to see it again,
Mr.
when you
Smith.
have an ordinance specifically citing this project.
Mr. Smith, feel free. Feel free, okay? Please.
I gave you
Please.
my opinion, and I think that there's more than my own.
Well, you know what,
Opinion.
Mr. Smith, please.
I've given you facts, I've given you opinion.
You've given this town facts and opinions for years and years, not to put things in many different places. It's okay, okay? But stop, okay? Unless you're willing to go to the prosecutor's office tomorrow morning.
I'll be there sooner or
Okay,
later,
Carl.
and I'll have people with me.
Mr. Smith, unless you're willing to go to the prosecutor's office tomorrow morning with facts and proof of corruption or anything, keep it out of here.
I
And not
gave
your
you
own
my
thoughts.
opinion, and it's an opinion really to save this township from the dirt that was thrown with
Thank you,
Colts
Mr.
Neck
Smith.
Crossing.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, okay? Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, there was a statement that was brought up that has kind of raised me some concern, and I want to ask our attorney. I notice in the land use, it says, notice to affected property owners of change to zone classification or boundaries. Now, by doing this, we are changing the classification of the SED zone, and I'm wondering if notices have to be taken to all those people in the SED zone. Because we are now changing the classification, and that causes a concern for me.
Ms. Kingdom.
If, it's my understanding that notice went out to all of the two individuals within 200 feet, the block and lots that were being rezoned.
Right. And I understand that, but the land use law says affected property owners change to zone classification or boundaries.
You're not necessarily changing the classification, you're allowing a permitted use.
Okay. I mean, I don't know the legal term of what justifies a classification or not. I don't, that's what if somebody knows, you know, I don't know, I'm just.
I don't know, and this is just me, like, you know, again, you know, I'm not a.
I don't want any
I'm not a
legal issues.
professional who knows everything, but I don't think we notice everybody in town every time we do an ordinance, okay? I
No,
don't
Mayor,
think we do.
but we're changing, we're doing a zoning change, and we're changing, and I'm wondering if the zone change is changing the classification, and that's my concern.
Okay?
Yeah,
No?
that's all.
All right. John Vannoy.
John Van Noy, 16 Pepperidge Road, Howell, New Jersey. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. I've had the great fortune of being able to come before our governing body